All right, how's everyone out there in TikTok world on the small screen with the picture behind me on the green screen, and on YouTube and Facebook? I'm going to do a bit of an editorial today. To be honest with you, it was too much work to put a round table together on a weekly basis, talk about different political issues. So I thought I'd just give you my point of view instead. We'll see how that goes. And you guys can shoot me in different topics and stuff like that. I'll give you what I consider my point of view, which will be more in line of a biker's point of view. So today we're going to talk about the firearm ban, the newest firearm ban up here in Canada. So a lot of my American friends have been asking me, what's up with that? And the honest answer to me has always been, Canada doesn't have a really big gun culture as it is, but it's not to say that if we were allowed to, we wouldn't, if that makes sense. Because I know lots of people who loves going to the range and shooting at the range, and I know tons and tons of people who are hunters, avid hunters, duck season, trudge up north and try to bag a moose in moose season. All that stuff. I know back in the past, I might have had a little thing in my room, and the police came and took it, and I didn't have to go to prison for it. So that there's no way around that. So let's start out with the start. Now, when did pistols become, like just handguns, pistols become illegal in Canada? In 1892 is when they first started making you get a permit for handguns in Canada, which is crazy. Who would have thought it was that long ago, right? So, and then building on that over the years, there's been different things about whether you can carry one and the magazine size and all those sort of things. There's tons of rules for all that, the ammunition style. So they put a national freeze on selling, purchasing, or transferring any handgun back in 2022. So not that long ago, a couple years ago. And of course, they put all these rules into effect, and they're screaming to, the ladies clutching their pearls, and they're all scared, and every time there's something bad goes on in Toronto, and let's face it, shit still does happen in the bigger cities. Sometimes it doesn't even take a bigger city for it to happen. Stuff happens, right? And so, when they were doing a big sweep on what they called the street gangs in Toronto, and they kept pulling up all these different things that they found in people's houses. Well, how many of them came out of either were stolen from a legitimate permit holder's house, or were taken from a sports shop? And the number was always very low, right? So most of these things that are getting in the hands of people, and these people are not going to buy a registered one anyway. The people that are in that life, if you're thinking they're going to go register something like that, you're thinking about the wrong thing, right? That's not what they do. It's not why they acquire something like that. They acquire something like for a specific purpose, right? Self-defense, whatever it is. I don't want to get into it because I don't know. But anyways, I do know that when those things are found in raids and stuff like that, the registered ones aren't the things that they find anyway. So the only people that these sort of bans really affect are the legal owners. So the legal owners didn't do anything wrong. They're the legal owners. They went through all the steps. They store them safely. Oh, and then you get into stuff like storage. That's what this picture is behind me on the TikTok video. It's storing your firearm safely. And these are laws. So they come in your house and they want to inspect gun safe, trigger lock, this and that, you name it. So even if you had a little thing beside your bed for self-defense, it was stored incorrectly anyway, so you should have had it like that. So, now they've gone and they've banned a whole bunch more guns. So most of these guns, from what I understand, they call them assault weapons. From what I understand, we don't even have assault weapons over here. Like it's not something you can walk into the gun shop, oof, and buy. There I am. Yeah, I'm getting this to work somehow. There we go. That's all I was trying to do. So there's some lists of what all's been banned on the latest round of bans. They're pretty wacky looking things, but all these guys that are in the hunting scene and the gun scene and all that. This is not a big thing to them. You know what I mean? These are just guns that they would use, like you say, if they're gonna go hunting and all that. These are the sort of things. If they got a clip that holds 30 rounds that you would see a guy in a movie, in a Rambo movie, shooting around. Well, obviously that ain't for hunting. But obviously, again, that's not the type of stuff that is owned by the law-abiding gun owner. And again, when they do these things and the people hand in all these things that they're not allowed to have anymore, it's just the licensed people that are handing them in. It's obviously not the guys on the other side of the law. They're not handing in nothing. So, these gun bans, and it always seems to come out around election time. We know there's election coming shortly. There's news stories here about gun shop owners that are out $40,000 worth of inventory, and now they're going to be out all sorts of sales. And this thing about they're sending them, they may go to Ukraine. I don't know, man. What are they talking about going to Ukraine? So, and every time that there's a new one of these bans, it's the same party. Unfortunately, we know who that party is. Everything he's done ass backwards. I supported that party when they first came with the weed stuff. We'll talk about the weed legalization on the next one of these editorials. They did that all backwards too. So they always do things when they do get around to doing them. They do them ass backwards anyway. So there's the whole story. But yeah, it's a big old story. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. They always bring this thing up to happen at that Montreal University, and it was a horrible thing. I was in school when that happened. I remember it happening. And it was by a dude that had a beef with girls for whatever reason. And that's another thing. You dudes that are being all tough guys and holding guns to your old lady, that doesn't make you a tough guy. Come on, man. So now they just had another guy. He got out of his halfway house in Toronto and he walked over to his ex's, according to the cops, and put her down. And why? Now, you know what? The next guy who goes up for bail for anything to do with hitting or yelling at her, abusing, oh man, he's never going to get bail. That's how it works. So one guy, because he can't control his emotions and talk with his words, he messes it up for all the next people. So lawful gun owners feel cheated by the new federal firearms ban, which they often do. 324 different makes and models of guns have been added to the prohibited weapon list. It always ends up like that. And it's usually people in the western states that at least they complain the most. And now if you want to do that, what's shown on the screen, you got to go down there to the range, and you can't take your own. You can't have your own in your closet. And that's the way it is. So they changed it. Unfortunately, it's not going to end the violence on the streets of our cities. Because again, the people that are doing those sort of things aren't getting those sort of things in and registering them and all that anyway. So, although I don't know if I made a lot of sense with all this stuff, I'll probably end it there. So again, firearms bans. There's been 3 of them since this guy's been in office. None of them have done what that we've been promised that they do, and that's cut down in any sort of violent crime in any way. If anything, you hear more stuff happening out there, even if it's like I just talked about that guy and his ex and all that, even if it's a one-on-one or a big gang thing or whatever it is, right? But these sort of bans and their promises and what we're told they're going to do is never how it works out. So if you happen to be a person who enjoys hunting and going to the range and all that, now you got to look at the rule books again. I'm sure you have by now anyway. Complain, vote differently on the next election. I know most of the country's gonna. And who knows, maybe the next guy will repeal some of these things, at least give people the chance to buy whatever sort of thing they want to do to go hunting with, right? Because there's tons and tons of people all over this country that do enjoy going hunting. So that's what I got for today. The firearm ban, it's a fail. Let's see if the next round of people in government can change it and make it better. All right. As always, that's my video for today. And all you people that stop and watch my videos, it means the world to me. Thank you so much, and we'll see you Thursday for the live interview with Dan Castle.